Hey everyone, here's another episode of my ghost stories. Here happened at work. And if you want to know any history about this place first, you have to watch the first episode, and it'll tell you about the place and everything. Here I'm in front of the breaker boxes. This next one was the very first time that I've actually seen a figure, a person, I'll say a person. It was January 24th, 2013. It was 6 a.m. I was sitting right in the break room, and I was looking out. Yeah, I was sitting in the break room. I was looking out the window. It was snowing, like just real light. You can barely see it snowing. And there's trains parked across there, locomotives. And we have a road that goes through. They're stopped at the road. And then there was another, like a box cars or something, or I think there was locomotives down about 60, 70 yards down. Well, I'm sitting in the room, in the break room, and I'm looking out the window, and I seen something. And like, this is the break room, the doors behind me. I'm looking out the window down across the tracks over there, and I seen something walking down the tracks. And it was like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's working over there. So I'm sitting there, I'm looking, and I can see someone clearly walking. They had like a tan outfit on. So I get up, and I walk out the door. As soon as I walk out the door, it starts to snow. And I'm watching, and this person is walking. So I start walking down the steps, walking over to the stop sign across the street. And as I'm walking, it starts to snow harder. And then the person just like basically disappears into the snow. It started snowing so hard. And then they got on the other side of the trains, and then I was like looking for them. I couldn't see them. They were just gone. So I was like thinking to myself, okay, if they walked down, they didn't walk out the other side of the boxcars down farther. I didn't see them. It was snowing too hard. But I was like, that's weird. There was about an inch and a half, maybe 2 inches of snow on the ground. So I come back in, and I sit in a chair, and I started thinking to myself, well, if they walk down that way, they have to walk back. So I sat there for another 5 minutes, maybe a little bit later, and sure enough, they come walking back. I could see that person walking back. So by the time I got up out of the chair, go to the door, opened it up, 3 seconds, and looked out there. It was no snowing, nothing. Nobody. That person couldn't have ran from the time I seen them, or even walked that fast to the time I seen them, to the front of that train where the locomotives were parked over there. They couldn't have spanned that. So I was like, all right, that was too screwy, and it was still wearing that tan outfit. Well, I took note of it, and I figured, you know what? There was snow on the ground. At break time, I'm going to go walk over there. So at break time, I walk out. My tracks are still in the snow, going over to the stop sign. And then I walk all the way over there to where the locomotives are and the boxcars and stuff. And I look on the ground. There's no tracks. No tracks in the snow whatsoever. That was my first thing to actually see a person. Well, I was telling somebody that worked here, Jim, we call him Rambo. I was telling him about it, and I told him, I said, the guy had a tan outfit on or something. And he says, yeah, that's the same color outfit that Sean, when he was in an earlier story I was telling, there was a guy sitting in the break room, seen that same person walking over there. He says he was wearing the same outfit. Sean didn't tell me he was wearing a tan outfit. I brought it up that I seen him wearing like a tan Carhartt outfit, like, you know. That was just really just That really shook me up. No footprints whatsoever. And mine were still there, you know, clear as day. Didn't even snow. Snow didn't cover them or anything. That was weird. February 17th, it was a Friday, 2013. I had smelled cigarette smoke off and on for about an hour and a half. The owner wanted me to drive forklift. I picked up a bundle, and once again on Tracy's machine that went right behind me, I put up a bundle, and she said she smelled cigarette smoke right in that certain spot, and it wasn't going anywhere. So I, you know, after I'd done driving Lyft, I backed up, parked it, didn't smell it anymore. Just something with cigarettes. I don't remember, if I remember this as I read it, I'll let you know. It was around 6:05 a.m. and I was walking back to turn the lights on and had some stuff to throw away. I walked by the man door, opened it, and threw it into the dumpster. When I came back in, to my left in the other warehouse where the last video I made, there was a big door opening. It was back in there. That's where it says, I heard a shh. It didn't startle me or anything, but I just kept on walking. I got about 40 feet and I turned a corner and started heading up front. I heard noises coming from that area and kept on walking. Okay, I remember this now. After that, I walked back up and I heard some more noises over in that area. But it was on this side of the area. And I was like, it sounded like someone was tapping on the bundles. Like 4 or 5 times. They were tap, 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 trying to get my attention. So I heard it and I was like, all right. I know I heard something. And when I came in the door, it was locked. So as I'm sitting there, I says, that is somebody messing with me. So I walk, and it started getting closer in between bundles where one guy, Sean, was working, his little work area. It started coming from there as I got around to one side and by the breaker boxes a little bit, and I was going to like kind of look through the bundles to see, but no, it come over from Sean's area now. It was back in the wall by the man door a little bit, or it started back in the back, then it started tapping on the bundles on the other side, and then it went over to there, and then I walked over to Sean's area, and it's not there, it's back in the bundles. I can hear it. Every couple times I would hear tap, 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 about every minute. And then it just stopped. So as I'm standing there, I have I can see the man door. It's the only way out of the bundles this way. You can't get out. And then there was a line of bundles up in the main warehouse, and you couldn't get, if there was somebody was in there, I would have seen them come out either way. So I says, Jim was supposed to come in a little bit. This is a little bit after 6 o'clock. I've been sitting there waiting. And so finally, about 20 minutes later, Jim comes walking back, and I told him, and I was saying, shh, and I says, and he came walking over, and I told him, I says, stand right here and look in that direction and in that direction to make sure you don't see anything. I keep hearing tapping back there. Someone's back in there tapping on these bundles. So he says, all right. So he sat there, and I went walking back in there. I walked through every bundle, every nook and cranny back in there. I found nothing. No, it was just obvious there was somebody tapping on the bundles. I couldn't answer it. There was no water dripping from the ceiling, you know, tapping on the bundles, nothing. So I didn't know what it was, because it was coming from different places, and that was just really weird. July 7th, 2013, I was in my room, and I was laying on my bed, and something kicked my bed. The vibration, you know, like the frame, something kicked the frame. There was nothing in there. Nothing in there at all. I mean, like I said before, it happened before that I thought it was maybe an earthquake or something, shook the bed, nothing. I couldn't find, nothing was in there with me. I remember walking back in front of Tracy's machine out in the aisle a little bit. I remember I was walking to my machine, and in an area about 5 to 7 feet, it was really warm, and I know it was at least 10 degrees difference in that one area, and I walked through it, and it caught my attention, and it was really weird. So I started backing up, and I walked into it again. It was still there, and it was only in a little radius there that it was really hot. I look up, there, the lights ain't gonna make that much heat. There was no heater, no nothing blowing on me. It just it was just really, really warm in that one spot. I couldn't. I to this day I didn't know why. I never happened ever since. It was late at night. Somebody whistled, and my window, I have it like blocked off to where a light comes in, but people can't see in. I'll open it up, and I'll have a screen there so I can get some air circulation in there. And there was a whistle, and then I sat there, and I thought I seen a shadow real quick outside that window. Because light still comes in, but I seen a shadow real quick, and that was freaky. I wasn't even going to go out to check that out. I didn't hear anything else. But later that morning, 6:15, quarter after 6 in the morning, I had all the lights on in the back. I came up front, and I started walking in the back, and it sounded like someone dropped a backstop. One of the backstops that we put in there, it's made of 2x4s and plywood and stuff, and 2x8s, like somebody dropped it. It was that loud. I mean, it's 5 foot tall. And that's right when I got back there, and I looked over, I stopped, and I sat there, and I was like, something's back here to make that fall. And I looked, and there was nothing. No movement, no nothing. I don't know what that sound was, but it sounded like a backstop hitting the ground. It was that loud. So, I don't know. It was around 2:30, or 12:30. I was laying in bed, and I woke up. I heard pounds. Like somebody pounding on the door or something to get in. So I was like, well, let me get up and check it out. So I came out, and I looked through the bathroom window, and I could see the steps kind of, I leaned up to the window, and I could see if anybody's here, or maybe it was a truck driver trying to get in or something like that. Nothing. I didn't see anything. Nobody was outside. Nothing was inside. I don't know. But I remember that pounding. It was around 11 o'clock at night, and I felt something touching the back of my hair. Just lightly touching the back of my hair, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, is it a spider or something? Whatever it is. So I would just reach back, it sat there for about 30 seconds. I remember it was just messing with my hair. So I reached back and I grabbed it. Maybe it was a spider or something, and I'm sitting there, and I look at my hand, there was nothing. That's freaky when you feel something touching you late at night and you don't know what the hell it is. 4:40 a.m. It says here, I remember this, but I don't remember in this detail, so I'm going to read it right off of here. At 4:40 a.m., I just got back from doing some stuff in the back this morning, and I had to finish building a wood stand next to my metal stand for my machine. But when I left the room with a cup of coffee, I walked past the office and smelled perfume. It was in 2 spots about 3 or 4 feet apart. I walked around that area for a moment, smelling it. It was only in those areas. I started walking back. About 40 feet, I smelled it again for about 20 more feet. Then I stopped. I turned the corner and went to turn on the breaker for where the lights I would be using. And when I walked through where I was, I smelled perfume again. I stopped and looked around thinking somebody was here. After a minute, I went back to the machine, and the whole way back I smelled nothing. But when I walked over to where the forklift was parked, I faintly smelled perfume. I got done taking out some cardboard that I had piled up from a couple of days, and took a bundle up front with the forklift and smelled perfume in them spots again. When I backed up, I figured I drove through those areas. I might have dissipated the perfume, but wouldn't be able to smell it. But I did smell it. I parked the lift and walked back up to my room and smelled it. But in some more in certain spots. It wasn't the whole way. It was like in a spot, in a spot, in a spot. When I turned the corner to the office, I didn't smell it as strong anymore. So it was like, I remember it was in certain spots I smelled the perfume, and it was really weird. And driving a forklift through it, you'd think you would dissipate it, but no, it was still there. Just really weird. October 30th, 2013, I was on my machine working, and I caught a whiff of cigarette smoke. It was around 10:15 in the morning. It kept coming and going for 3 times, just enough for me to smell it, and then it stopped after that, just totally stopped. November 1st, 2013, 6:15 in the morning. I remember I was walking back to turn the breakers on, and through a certain spot, I still smelled that same exact perfume. I mean, it was a different smelling perfume from like years before that I come in and I would smell it, like in the break room or something. I smelled perfume. It was a different perfume. But this one, I went through a certain spot. You only smelled it in a certain spot. I smelled perfume again. So I don't know if there's 2 ghosts that work here, because people smelled a guy cologne, like BO, and then you could smell a woman. Maybe they smoked at one time. I don't know. It's just something weird that you can't explain. Why would you smell perfume out of the blue unless somebody was distinctly here or sprayed perfume in that area? But why would somebody spray perfume? Who would think about spraying perfume? It was earlier than I usually get here, and I looked at the clock when it happened, and I remember laying in bed. I heard 4 loud pounds, like someone pounding their fist on something, like they wanted to get in or something. They had a delivery, and they seen my my car out front, or my truck out front, and they wanted the front door open. So I was like, it was loud, so I grabbed a flashlight, and I looked out the bathroom window, thinking I would see a truck driver or something. There was nothing out there. It didn't happen for the rest of the day, the rest of the night, nothing. December 6th, it was a little after 4 in the morning. I was working on a box by my machine. I remember that. I was working on a box, and I was putting screws in it, and I heard a loud bang, like someone took their hand and slammed it down on a bundle. And it was about 100. It was down in the one area where Sean worked, or no, Wayne worked. Wayne worked down in there, and I definitely heard it. I just got up and I just looked down there. Nothing. I didn't see anything. So I had a pry. It sounded like someone deliberately did that. So I had a pry bar, and I put it close to me, and I just kept on putting screws in there. I was like, that's it. So that's all I have printed out so far. So I'm going to have to write down or print out some more stuff that's going on since then. Just stay tuned till the next episode, and something tragic happens and after that it's kind of weird what happens also. So I'll let you know in the next episode, and we'll see you then.